Why me, God? Why have I been chosen to face this storm? Why have I been selected for this journey of hardship, challenge, and suffering? The question echoes in the hearts of many, perhaps in yours right now as you read this. In those moments when the weight of the world presses down on our shoulders, it's only natural to ask, why me? But let me tell you that there's more to this question than meets the eye. In the very act of asking it, you are uncovering the purpose behind your pain, the reason behind your struggle. First of all, let me acknowledge something that we must all face. Life is not always kind. In fact, it often feels as though life is against us. We experience setbacks, betrayals, disappointments, and heartaches. It can feel like we've been handed a set of circumstances that no one else could possibly understand. When the storm is fierce and the rain is relentless, the question arises, why me? But here's the truth, beloved. We were not created to be victims of our circumstances. We were created to overcome them. The very fact that you are asking, why me, means that you are standing at a pivotal point in your journey, a point where you have the opportunity to grow. The pain you are experiencing is not the end of your story. It is simply the beginning of a transformation that will change you forever. When we encounter hardships, we can be tempted to look at them as a punishment. Why me, we ask, as though we are being punished for some unknown sin. But what if it's not punishment? What if it's preparation? What if everything that is happening in your life is not a punishment from God, but rather an intentional preparation for something greater? Could it be that the very trials you are facing are meant to refine you, shape you, and mold you into the person you are meant to become? Consider the trials of a great athlete. In order to achieve greatness, an athlete must push their body to the limit. They must endure pain, exhaustion, and frustration. But every drop of sweat, every bruise, every moment of doubt is preparing them for the victory that lies ahead. The struggle is not an enemy. It is a friend that shapes them into someone capable of achieving something far beyond their current abilities. In the same way, the struggles we face in life are not here to destroy us. They are here to shape us. They are the refining fire that purges away the impurities in our hearts, the unnecessary distractions from our minds, and the doubts in our souls. Through this fire, we become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And when the storms rage and the winds howl, we must remember that God does not allow us to walk through this fire alone. He is with us every step of the way. We may not always understand his timing or his methods, but we must trust that he has a plan for us. The question, why me, can become a question of faith, a question that leads us to a deeper understanding of who we are and why we are here. It's easy to feel abandoned when life is tough. We may feel as though we are walking through the darkness without any light in sight. But even in our darkest moments, God is still there. He is the light in the darkness, the guide on our journey, the strength when we are weak. Even when it seems like there's no way out, God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every moment of our lives with precision and purpose. You see, there is purpose in the pain. There is purpose in the struggles. There is purpose in the waiting. And when we ask, why me? We are given the opportunity to reflect on that purpose. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and understand why you had to go through what you went through. One day you will realize that the very thing that nearly broke you is the very thing that made you stronger. The question, why me, can also be a question of identity. Who are you, really? Not just the person you see in the mirror, but the person God sees when he looks at you. In those moments of pain, we can forget who we are. We can lose sight of the greatness within us, and we begin to believe the lies that the world and the enemy try to feed us. We think that we are failures, that we are not worthy, or that we are not capable of overcoming our obstacles. But let me tell you something, beloved. You are more than your circumstances. You are more than your past. You are more than your mistakes. You are a child of God, created in his image and equipped with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. The struggles you face are not a reflection of your worth. They are a reflection of your potential. God knows who you are, and he knows what you are capable of. He has called you for such a time as this, and he will not leave you or forsake you. When we ask, why me? We are also asking for understanding. We want to know the reason behind the hardship, the reason behind the pain. And while we may not always get the answers we want, we can find peace in knowing that God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. We may not understand the full picture now, but one day, all will be revealed. The questions will be answered, the mysteries will be uncovered, and we will see that everything we went through had a purpose. In the meantime, we are called to trust. We are called to trust that God is good, even when life is not. We are called to trust that his plan is perfect, even when we can't see the end of the road. We are called to trust that he is faithful, even when it feels like we are walking through a wilderness. And when we trust, we find peace. We find rest for our souls. We find the strength to keep going, even when the road is long and the journey is hard. The question, why me, is not a question of despair. It is a question of faith. It is a question that leads us to the realization that God has chosen us for this moment, this struggle, this season. He has equipped us with everything we need to not just survive, but to thrive. We are not meant to be victims of our circumstances. We are meant to be victors. As you ask, why me? Know that you are not alone. God has been with you from the beginning, and he will be with you until the very end. You are not just surviving, you are being prepared for something greater. And in the end, you will see that the struggle was worth it. You will see that the pain, the heartbreak, and the challenges were all part of a greater plan, a plan that only God could have orchestrated. And when you look back, you will understand why it had to be you. So when you ask, why me, I want you to remember, it's not about why you, but rather, why not you? Why not be the one who rises? Why not be the one who shines in the midst of darkness? Why not be the one who overcomes, who stands strong, who becomes a testimony to others? Why not be the one who inspires others to keep going even when the road is rough? You are not a mistake. Your pain is not wasted. Your journey is not in vain. Everything you've gone through, everything you're going through is preparing you for the greatness that is ahead. And one day, when you stand on the other side of your struggle, you will look back and say, I understand now. I understand why it had to be me. So don't give up. Don't stop asking the question, because that question is leading you to a deeper understanding of who you are and what you are capable of. You are chosen, you are equipped, you are called, and you are more than a conqueror. Keep going, because the best is yet to come. The struggles and challenges we face are not punishments, but preparations. Each difficulty shapes us, refines us, and prepares us for the greatness that lies ahead. Asking why me is not a sign of despair, but an invitation to deepen our faith. In trusting God's plan, even when we can't see the full picture, we gain strength, peace, and the ability to overcome. Our identity is not defined by our circumstances. We are children of God, equipped with everything we need to fulfill our purpose. The trials we face are part of a greater plan to bring out the best version of ourselves. Pain is often viewed as an adversary, something to be avoided, something that drains us of strength, joy, and peace. We are conditioned to believe that pain is something inherently bad, a negative force that should be eradicated as quickly as possible. However, the truth is that pain serves a greater purpose than we typically recognize. While it may feel like the end, it often marks the beginning of a process that is far more transformative than we could imagine. The pain we experience, whether emotional, physical, or spiritual, does not come to break us, but to refine us, to shape us, to prepare us for something greater. When we face hardships, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, discouraged, or even abandoned. It's easy to look at our circumstances and wonder why it has to be this way. Why does it feel as though the weight of the world is on our shoulders? Why must we endure this hardship, this suffering, this heartache? We find ourselves asking, why me? As if we've been singled out for misfortune. But what if the pain we're experiencing isn't a curse, but a divine opportunity for growth? The process of refining precious metals offers an insight into the purpose of pain. Gold, for example, begins as a raw and pure substance. It is only through intense heat, the refining fire, that it becomes pure and valuable. The fire melts the gold, causing the impurities to rise to the surface where they can be removed. The result is a refined, stronger, and more valuable product. In much the same way, the struggles and hardships we face serve as the refining fire of our lives. Through them, we are shaped, strengthened, and purified. Pain has a unique way of revealing what lies beneath the surface. In times of suffering, we are forced to confront parts of ourselves that we may otherwise ignore or deny. We discover strengths we never knew we had, and we uncover weaknesses that need to be addressed. Pain forces us to take an honest look at who we are, what we believe, and what we truly want out of life. It is in these moments of discomfort and struggle that we often experience the most growth. The pressure we face becomes a crucible, molding us into individuals who are more capable of handling the challenges ahead. Moreover, pain fosters empathy and compassion. When we endure suffering, we develop a deeper understanding of the pain others experience. We become more aware of the struggles of those around us, and as a result, more willing to offer support, encouragement, and love. Pain transforms us from self-seekers individuals into people who can truly relate to the struggles of others. Through our own pain, we learn to lift others up, to walk with them through their darkest moments, and to offer them the hope that they too can overcome. Pain also reveals the strength of our character. While we may be tempted to give up in the face of adversity, it is often in the moments of greatest difficulty that we discover the inner strength that has been there all along. Pain pushes us to dig deep, to summon courage and perseverance, even when we feel like we can't go on. It teaches us resilience, the ability to bounce back and keep moving forward even when it feels like everything is falling apart. It is through pain that we learn how strong we truly are, how capable we are of withstanding trials, and how far we can go when we refuse to give up. Another powerful aspect of pain is its role in fostering dependence on a higher power. When we are in pain, when we face circumstances beyond our control, we often realize that we cannot handle everything on our own. We reach the end of our strength and we find ourselves calling out for help. In these moments, we are reminded that we are not meant to do life alone. We are not meant to rely solely on our own abilities or resources. Pain drives us to seek something greater than ourselves, whether it's God, the universe, or the support of others, and in doing so, we find the strength to keep going. Our vulnerability and pain opens us up to the help and guidance we need to overcome. Furthermore, pain has the remarkable ability to help us redefine our priorities. When everything is going well, it's easy to become complacent and distracted by things that ultimately don't matter. But when we experience pain, when we are stripped of the superficial comforts of life, we are forced to focus on what truly matters. Our relationships, our health, our values, and our sense of purpose come into sharper focus. Pain has a way of reordering our priorities, helping us see what is truly important and what we need to let go of. In this way, pain can be a catalyst for greater clarity and purpose in our lives. In addition to all of this, pain teaches us the importance of patience. The process of healing, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, is rarely immediate. It takes time, and it requires us to trust that the pain will eventually subside and that we will emerge stronger on the other side. The waiting period, though difficult, is part of the process. It teaches us to be patient with ourselves, to trust in the timing of our healing, and to have faith that the suffering will not last forever. Just as a seed must first be buried in the ground and endure the darkness before it can sprout into something beautiful, so too must we endure the painful seasons of life before we can see the growth and transformation that will come. There is also a unique beauty in the way that pain connects us to the larger human experience. Each of us at some point in our lives will face trials and suffering. We are all part of the same human story, and in that shared experience of pain, we find common ground. Our suffering becomes a reminder that we are not isolated in our pain. The pain we experience is not only for our growth, but also for our connection to others. Through our shared experiences of suffering, we build empathy, understanding, and solidarity with those around us. We realize that we are not alone in our struggles, and this collective experience of pain can bring people together in powerful ways. The purpose of pain is not to punish us or to defeat us. It is to refine us, to shape us into stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient individuals. It is through our pain that we discover our true strength, our true character, and our true purpose. Pain pushes us to rely on something greater than ourselves, to reorder our priorities, and to see the world through the lens of empathy and compassion. And while it may not always be easy, the transformative power of pain is something that can ultimately lead us to a deeper understanding of who we are and who we are meant to become. As we face the inevitable storms and struggles of life, it is important to remember that pain is not the end of the story. It is merely a chapter that can shape us, refine us, and prepare us for the next chapter of our journey. The greatest triumphs often come after the greatest struggles, and the most beautiful transformations are born from the fiercest fires. Pain may be a difficult teacher, but it is one that ultimately leads us to greater wisdom, greater strength, and a greater appreciation for the beauty of life. In the end, it is not the pain that defines us, but how we rise from it, how we grow through it, and how we allow it to shape us into the people we are destined to become. There are moments in life when the storm seems too fierce, the darkness too overwhelming, and the road ahead too uncertain. In those times, when the weight of our circumstances feels unbearable, we often find ourselves asking, why me? The struggle becomes so intense that it threatens to consume our hope and our will to continue. But it is precisely in these moments of struggle that faith becomes not just an abstract concept, but the very lifeline that sustains us. Faith through the struggle is not just about believing when things are going well, when life is smooth and easy. It is easy to have faith when we can see the way forward, when everything aligns, and when we are basking in comfort. But real faith, the kind that holds us up when everything seems to be falling apart, is a faith that perseveres through hardship, through doubt, through pain, and through uncertainty. It is in the struggle that our faith is truly tested, refined, and ultimately deepened. Faith is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is the courage to keep moving forward even when we are afraid. It is the ability to hold on to hope even when the world around us feels hopeless. It is trusting that there is a purpose in the pain, a lesson in the hardship, and a victory waiting at the end of the journey. Faith is the strength to believe even when we can't see the way, even when the storm is raging, and even when it seems like all we have left is a flicker of light in the darkness. During times of struggle, faith is often the difference between giving up and pushing forward. It is easy to give up when the challenges seem insurmountable, when the pain is too much to bear, when we feel alone, abandoned, and forgotten. But faith reminds us that we are never alone, that we are not abandoned, and that there is always a greater purpose behind every trial we face. Faith reminds us that though the storm may last for a while, it will not last forever, and that the dawn will eventually break through the night. One of the greatest tests of faith occurs when we are faced with the unknown. It is one thing to have faith when we know what's ahead, when we can see the steps in front of us, but it is an entirely different challenge to have faith when we have no idea what the future holds. It's in the uncertainty that our faith is stretched, that we are forced to step out into the unknown and trust that God, or the force we believe in, is guiding us every step of the way. It is in these moments of uncertainty that we learn to let go of our need for control, to surrender our plans, and to trust in the divine timing of things. The struggle also exposes the limits of our own strength and ability. There are times when we realize that we simply don't have what it takes to face the challenges before us on our own. We reach the end of our rope and we feel like we are on the verge of breaking. It is precisely at this point that faith becomes crucial. Faith is the recognition that we do not have to carry the burden alone. It is the acknowledgement that there is a power greater than ourselves, a higher source of strength that will carry us when we cannot carry ourselves. Faith is knowing that in our weakness, God's strength is made perfect, and in our brokenness, His healing power can restore us. One of the most profound aspects of faith through the struggle is the ability to see beyond the pain. When we are in the midst of hardship, it can be nearly impossible to see any light at the end of the tunnel. All we can feel is the weight of our struggle, the depth of our loss, and the intensity of our pain. But faith allows us to hold on to hope even when we cannot see the way forward. Faith is the assurance that even when things seem impossible, there is a greater purpose unfolding behind the scenes. It is the belief that our struggle is not in vain, that our pain will not be wasted, and that we are being prepared for something greater than we can imagine. Faith is also about perspective. When we are in the thick of a struggle, it's easy to become consumed by our circumstances, to focus solely on the pain, the disappointment, or the fear that is right in front of us. But faith gives us the ability to lift our eyes above the immediate pain and see the bigger picture. It allows us to trust that there is a greater plan at work, even when we don't understand it. It helps us to understand that our struggles are not the end of the story. They are merely chapters in a much larger narrative that is still unfolding. Faith allows us to look beyond the present moment and trust that what we are going through now is only preparing us for the blessings, the growth, and the purpose that lie ahead. The struggle has a way of revealing the depth of our faith. It is easy to have faith when things are going smoothly, when everything is falling into place. But real faith is forged in the furnace of adversity. It is in the trials that our faith is tested, that we are forced to rely on something greater than ourselves. It is in the struggle that we discover the true nature of our faith, not the surface level, easy faith that relies on circumstances, but the deep, abiding faith that is rooted in trust, perseverance, and hope. Through the struggle, we also come to understand that faith is not always about having the answers or understanding why things are happening the way they are. It is not about having a clear roadmap or being able to predict the future. Faith is about trusting in the unseen, believing that even when we cannot see what lies ahead, God or the universe has a plan for us. It is about accepting that we may not have all the answers, but we trust that we are being led in the right direction, that we are being guided every step of the way, even when it feels like we are stumbling in the dark. Faith through the struggle is also about perseverance. There will be moments when we feel like giving up, when we want to throw in the towel and walk away from the fight. But it is in those moments that our faith is called to rise up, to press forward, and to keep moving, even when we don't feel like it. Perseverance is the key that unlocks the door to victory. It is the ability to keep going, even when the road is rough and the finish line seems impossibly far away. Faith through the struggle gives us the courage to keep putting one foot in front of the other, to keep fighting, to keep believing, no matter how difficult the journey may be. Faith is not a one-time decision. It is a continual process of trust, surrender, and belief. It is something that grows stronger the more we face and overcome. As we walk through the struggles of life, our faith matures and deepens, becoming an unshakable foundation that we can rely on in the future. Each trial, each struggle, each challenge is an opportunity for our faith to grow, to be tested, and to be refined. In the end, faith through the struggle is not just about making it through the hard times. It is about becoming the person we are meant to be in the process. It is about discovering the strength, courage, and resilience that we never knew we had. It is about realizing that the struggles we face are not obstacles to our success, but stepping stones that lead us to our destiny. Faith through the struggle is the unwavering belief that no matter what, we will not be defeated, and that we are more than capable of overcoming anything that comes our way. There are moments in life when we find ourselves searching for meaning, struggling to understand who we truly are and what we are meant to do. In these moments, it's easy to feel lost, uncertain, or disconnected from our purpose. The question of identity often arises: who am I? It's a question that can feel overwhelming, especially when life seems to push us in different directions or when the noise of the world drowns out our inner voice. But the truth is, understanding who we are and the calling that has been placed on our lives is the key to living with purpose, direction, and fulfillment. At the core of our identity is the realization that we were created for a reason. We are not here by accident, and we are not defined by our circumstances or the labels that others place on us. Our true identity is not determined by our job, our achievements, or our past mistakes. It is determined by something much deeper, the essence of who we are at the core as individuals who are uniquely designed with specific gifts, talents, and potential. In order to understand our identity, we must first look inward. Too often we seek validation or confirmation from external sources, whether it's from other people, society's standards, or even our own expectations. We strive to be the person others want us to be, to live up to the ideals and benchmarks set by the world around us. But true identity cannot be found in these external factors. It is only when we look inward, when we connect with our true selves, that we begin to understand who we really are. Our identity is a reflection of our inner essence, and it can only be discovered through self-awareness, self-acceptance, and a willingness to embrace our authentic selves. Understanding our identity is closely tied to understanding our calling. Many people live their lives without ever truly asking themselves what they are meant to do or why they are here. They go through the motions, focusing on the day-to-day tasks of life, but never pause to reflect on the bigger picture. But our calling is not something that can be ignored or bypassed. It is a deep, intrinsic pull within us, a sense of purpose that drives us forward and shapes our decisions. It is that feeling deep within our hearts that urges us to pursue something greater than ourselves, something that aligns with our values, passions, and skills. The journey of discovering our calling is not always easy. It is not a path that is always clear, and it often requires us to step out of our comfort zones and take risks. In fact, discovering our calling often comes with uncertainty, doubt, and fear. We may question whether we are capable, whether we are worthy, or whether we are on the right path. But it is precisely in these moments of uncertainty that we are given the opportunity to trust in something greater than ourselves, something that transcends our limitations and fears. When we begin to understand our calling, we realize that it is not just about doing something for the sake of achievement or success. It is about living in alignment with our deepest values, passions, and purpose. It is about making a difference, however small or large, in the lives of others and the world around us. Our calling is a manifestation of who we are at the core. And when we walk in alignment with that calling, we experience a sense of fulfillment and joy that goes beyond external accomplishments. Our calling is not always a grand, dramatic revelation. Sometimes it comes in quiet moments of reflection or through small acts of service. It may be revealed through the relationships we cultivate, the work we do, or the impact we have on those around us. It is often through our passions and interests that our calling becomes clearer. The things we care about, the activities that bring us joy, the causes that stir our hearts. These are often clues to the deeper calling that lies within us. However, it's important to recognize that our calling may not always be something that brings immediate fame or recognition. It may not always be something that the world celebrates or applauds. And yet, even in the seemingly small or unnoticed moments, our calling is significant. It is in the quiet acts of kindness, the unsung efforts, and the ways in which we serve others that our true calling often comes to life. The impact we have on the world is not always measured by the scale of our actions, but by the heart with which we carry them out. In order to truly embrace our identity and calling, we must also let go of fear and comparison. One of the biggest obstacles to living authentically and pursuing our calling is the fear of failure or the fear of not measuring up. We often compare ourselves to others, feeling like we are falling short or that our path is not as significant as someone else's. But the truth is, each person's calling is unique. No one else can walk your path or fulfill your purpose the way you can. Your identity and calling are specifically designed for you, and they are valuable simply because they are yours. We must also remember that our calling is not a destination, but a journey. It is not something we reach once and for all, but something that unfolds throughout our lives. As we grow, evolve, and change, our calling may shift or expand. The way we express our purpose may look different at different stages of life. And that is okay. Embracing our calling means being open to the evolving nature of our journey and being willing to adapt as we learn and grow. There will be challenges along the way, and there will be moments when we feel uncertain or discouraged. There will be times when we doubt whether we are on the right path or whether we are truly living out our calling. But it is in these moments of struggle and uncertainty that our identity and calling are often clarified. When we face difficulties, we are given the opportunity to lean deeper into our sense of purpose, to trust that we are being guided, and to have faith that our calling is leading us in the right direction. As we step into our calling, we must also be willing to serve others. A true calling is not self-serving. It is about making a positive impact on the lives of others and contributing to something larger than ourselves. Whether our calling involves our family, community, or a global cause, the impact of our purpose is always connected to the well-being of others. When we live out our calling in service to others, we not only fulfill our purpose, but we also create a ripple effect that brings light and hope to the world around us. Living in alignment with our identity and calling is not just about personal fulfillment. It is about contributing to the greater good and making the world a better place. As we walk in our purpose, we inspire others to do the same. Our example, our actions, and our authenticity can encourage others to embrace their own calling and live out their true identity. In this way, our calling is not just about us. It is about the collective impact we have on the world, the relationships we nurture, and the lives we touch. When we understand who we are and why we are here, we are empowered to live with intention, direction, and purpose. Our identity becomes a solid foundation, and our calling becomes the guiding light that directs us on our path. We begin to live in alignment with our deepest values and passions, and we find fulfillment not in external achievements, but in the knowledge that we are living authentically and purposefully. Through this journey, we discover that our identity and calling are not just personal pursuits. They are interconnected with the world around us, and they are a key part of the greater story that we are all a part of.